Welcome back to CBS This Morning. We have newly revealed video from the January 6th assault on the Capitol. The government says it shows a local leader of the far-right Proud Boys pushing past police on the Capitol steps. One officer who was injured that day was Michael Fanone of D.C.'s Metropolitan Police, who was beaten unconscious. He's now trying to hold rioters and their political supporters accountable for the mayhem. Kris Van Cleave spoke with Officer Fanone and two of his allies, Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger and Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell, in an interview you are seeing only on CBS This Morning. Kris, good morning to you.
Good morning. There are certainly days up here that start to feel like the Twilight Zone when you hear members minimizing what happened on January 6th. One Republican has speculated the FBI was involved. That's a conspiracy theory. Another has compared the rioters to tourists. We are going to meet an officer who was here on the 6th, who battled that crowd for his life and is now battling for truth. And he is finding something that is in short supply here on the Hill these days: bipartisan support and even friendship.
You guys fight the right people.
You're seeing what D.C. police officer Michael Fanone saw on January 6th.
All holy hell broke loose. Next thing you know, we were just, in a hand-to-hand just battle.
His body cam rolled as he was pulled into the crowd of rioters outside the Capitol and attacked.
I was tortured. I was beaten. I was, struck with a taser numerous times at the base of my skull, and I posed no threat.
At one point, you were unconscious.
Correct. How was that like a necessity other than the fact that they wanted to torture an officer?
And if they're willing to do that to you, they were willing to do that to a member of Congress.
Absolutely.
He was forced to the ground, suffered a mild heart attack and a brain injury. Fearing for his life, he called out, "I have kids." 6 months later, the scars from that day are still with him. Working through the emotional fallout, he's no longer fighting the mob outside the Capitol, but some members of Congress he rushed in to protect.
My initial feelings were a feeling of abandonment. I speak to a lot of police officers, and that's the overwhelming feeling, is that we've been abandoned.
As efforts to downplay January 6th grow louder, last week 21 House Republicans voted to deny Fanone and fellow officers the highest congressional honor for their heroism, in an attempt, he thinks, not to acknowledge the attack itself.
Which is, to me, far more repulsive than voting against, giving cops a medal.
Fanone has become friends with Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger and Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell, the three coming together in a joint interview, hoping to show it's possible to disagree and still get along.
When you sit here and you see the strength of Fanone here, openly talking about some of the emotional struggles he has. Like, as dudes, that's something we don't like doing. I'm a military guy, he's a cop. It's not something that, is in our lexicon, but it's important to hear it.
And where they all agree, the need for a 9/11-style commission to investigate January 6th. But that was blocked by Senate Republicans.
The bottom line of all of it, it's cowardice, because it takes strength to tell the truth. If you believe Antifa and BLM actually attacked the Capitol, you should have won a January 6th commission. But if you believe that that you've been lying about it the whole time, then you don't want a January 6th commission. That's why we have to do it.
Do you worry about more violence?
Yes.
Here?
Yes. The best antidote against that is unity among Democrats and Republicans saying, we're not going to let that happen again. We may not agree on who the president is right now and what that person is trying to do, but we at least agree in the process and the democracy that brought that about.
Do you think if there is a commission or anything Congress does to look into January 6th at this point, will be looked at as credible?
But if you're going to enact policies to make sure this never happens again, as the independent bipartisan September 11 Commission did, it has to be independent, bipartisan, and as far away from this building as possible.
Mike, is there any questions you have from 1/6 that haven't been answered?
I'm done tiptoeing through the tulips here. The questions I have are, to what extent, if any, did our political leaders involve themselves in the events of January 6th? If there was participation from members of Congress, from their staff, as an officer that served that day, I certainly would like to know that. Like, as an American, I believe very strongly in a two-party system. Right now, one of those parties has a cancer. and we got to cut it out. And until we do that, we're not going to be able to move forward as a nation.
CBS News is not aware of any evidence that indicates a member of Congress aided the rioters on January 6th. Nearly 500 people have been charged, and the FBI says hundreds more may soon be facing charges as well. Officer Fanone has been a regular presence up here on the Hill, trying to meet with members of Congress that have been minimizing what happened on January 6th. Last week, he says a House Republican member refused to even shake his hand, and he has been unable to get a meeting with House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. McCarthy's office says the leader is happy to meet with Fanone, but has not received an official meeting request. Anthony?
Kris, thank you. That's pretty astonishing. And what's also astonishing is every time we see another angle or another body camera from this assault on January 6th, it just looks scarier and scarier every time.
Yeah, an independent bipartisan commission. I'm interested in what they would find, but also what they will not find. As Kris mentioned, there's no evidence someone in Congress cooperated in any way with the rioters. Let's put that in a report if that's what the investigators find.
I think the scariest thing in all of this, an investigation is not going to change the minds and hearts of people who think that wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't understand when your house is attacked, as Congress was, you don't agree to an investigation.
First breach in over 200 years.
Yep.